It's interesting. When you look at game like the proper noun, the game, it's like this overarching idea that there's a set of rules or social cues for engaging with opposite sex. And it's almost like each person is like a player trying to get something from the other players. Um, and like having game is like an individual's approach to their end game, which is, the outcome, the intended outcome, whatever that might be. People have different end games too. One of the challenges is that everybody kind of approaches the game differently. Everybody looks at the rules differently. And, some people are led by their heart in the game. Some people are led by their minds. Some people are led by their bodies in the game. And one of the challenges about the game today for me is that it seems to be a lot of elements of like exploitation a lot of times. Like, it's like, how much can you get from somebody else without giving as much as you can give, right? So you give as little as possible to get as much as you can. And it's not a lot of reciprocity in the process. And that's not always the case, don't get me wrong. But I think just kind of in general, there's kind of a general consensus that, especially in like in male circles, a lot of times it's like, how little can I do to get as much as I can from her? And I think that kind of the same thing too, when you start thinking about certain women that take advantage of men in certain ways in the same way. So
basically game, let's break it down. Game is where you have an objective, you have rules. You may have opposing teams, you may have team players, you may have a group of people, but all in all, a game has a goal in mind. So it depends on what the goal is. Is it to win? Do you lose? How do you get to that end goal? Some people cheat. Some people follow the rules to the T. Some people will do, anything that they can to win, so it just depends on how you look at it. Like, for instance, if you're really, really competitive, you may try to score as many points versus using strategy to win a game. So it just depends on who's looking, who's playing, who wants to win, so that's what the game, quote unquote, could mean. Now, when it comes to dating, it could be a million things. Some people's game is to date, get married, end goal. Some people's game is to date as many people as possible. Some people's, end goal is to be a player of the year, so get as many points as possible. So it just depends on who's playing.
Girl, I don't know. Game is anything that's not authentic. If you're trying to play a game and figure out the rules, then that's game. I'm not very good at games. I don't quite understand them. Are we allowed to say words? Is there someone like gonna yes. Is there someone like gonna like bleep me? Is there a bleeper like on alert? Okay.
Speak your truth, Kait.
When people want to like fuck around, I'm not very good at that. Like, I fuck that shit up really badly. Like, I'm not like, do you text? Do you not text? And my view is I just got better shit to do and worry about, should I text you? Should I not? So if I text, if that's what I want to do, that's what I do.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And if it don't work out, it's just not meant to be. I just don't have time for all this back and forth, wishy-washy, like, you like me? Yay, nay, and move from there.
Exactly. I prefer my peace over somebody, being in my life, trying to take, a scoreboard. Okay, she talked to me today. We'll talk tomorrow, but who's going to call first? You went on a date, you have high expectations, can I get that kiss? Can I feel on your booty? And it's like, there's definitely levels to this, but I don't feel like it's a game. It's a process of, hit or miss, or what you did versus what I can give. Good word that Ben used at the top of this conversation is reciprocity. I like that, because it's just kind of like a give and take, just to kind of measure out where we are in this thing and building this organic relationship. So again, like what Kait said, I don't have time for all of the games either. It's just like, if we're in this, then let's be, mutual about it and build and grow?
I think people play games because they're afraid to be vulnerable. I think game is a protection, because it's like, I'm gonna hurt you or prevent the hurt before you do it to me. So I think it's like, well, I know a lot of women, oh girl, wait 3 days and don't answer his phone call if he called the first night. I'm like, that is, to me, that's the dumbest thing ever. Because if this person is interested in you, to me, calling the first day shows interest.
Right.
They're eager to talk to you. They just left you. Now, in appropriation, for instance, if you're out late night, I'm not expecting you to call me 2 o'clock in the morning. Call me, yes, at a decent hour. But if this guy likes me, he's going to call. And I feel like that shows interest. Those are the things you want to see, not looking at it as game. And then you wait 3 days, this guy's going to think you're not interested. That's where the game starts. And then it's like, oh no, she's playing. So now it flips back to her. You think he's playing game by calling too fast. And then you think, he's going to think you're playing games by not answering the call, waiting 5 days, whatever. So that's that stupid little place that people get to. And then it's like nobody wins.
Precisely. All right, so moving along. Question: what is the game for women? Do women have game, and have you personally ever ran game on a dude? If so, what does it look like?
I guess game could also be a playful thing. When you say you ran game on somebody, I feel like it's like, those pickup lines, stupid little cheesy things that you can say to get somebody's attention. I feel like you can use that in a positive way to play game with somebody, but it's kind of to break the ice or spark their interest. If you have a sense of humor, it's kind of good to show like, I'm lighthearted, fun loving, just like to have a good time type of person. More people are open to that type of spirit than somebody whose arms are always folded. You just have this look on your face, like, don't bother me. So I feel like, having some type of a little game you play with that person, like flirting, is cool. You can do that to spark that, get that spark going between you and that somebody.
Okay, so Ben, on the man side, what does game look like for a man?
I'm
Don't
kind of
tell no
okay. So
secrets.
it's
Wait, what?
That don't tell no secrets.
say, Luke?
Don't blow up the spot.
Well, come on, Brian.
Don't give him everything. Don't
Hey, Lewis, it's
look.
not your turn.
Look, we speak
Right,
the
aren't
truth,
you
man. Nah,
frozen?
nah,
hearing
seriously.
you. You
Aren't you
try to tell him
frozen?
not to get the secrets. No.
Okay.
He said, don't give up the bro code. My bad. So I was about to give up the bro code. No, seriously. So the thing about game is, and I think we've kind of alluded to it, like how you define it. Seems like Kait is saying that, that game is the negative side of, males, female relationships. Jolon and myself seem to be more kind of in a general sense, like, there are these social cues, these playful things, like I said, playful things. And really it's the intention behind it. If your intention is kind of like what Kait was saying, like if you're trying to like, manipulate somebody in that, then that's one thing. But if you're using, like I said, certain strategies, approaches to entice somebody, I think that's different. Like for instance, I don't honestly, kind of like what everybody says, I don't feel like I have like game. I don't go pick up lines. I'm not a dude that goes to bars and stuff like that. But I mean, if I'm being honest, I try to be as humble as possible. If I'm being honest, I know that I have some traits that women find attractive. I try to dress nice, smell nice. Conversation, humor, things of that nature. I'm very intent on studying, so I like to study the woman that I'm dealing with. Learn her interests, learn what makes her happy, what makes her feel pleasure, those types of things. So yes, I use those things in a way to entice her, to make her feel good about herself. And I guess you can call that game. I'm not sure. I think it's authentic, like kind of like what Kait said. Like I think it's an authentic thing I want to do, and I'm not trying to manipulate her. I'm trying to make her happy, and so I'm using tools at my disposal to for that end. And it's not in terms of manipulation. And again, like I said earlier, it's reciprocity. I want to give as much to her as she gets from me, and vice versa. So
That's dope. Kait, have you ever had a moment where it was like, you know what, I'm in my game mode? I know he said,
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like broke college kid in New York, so that was the only time I like ate a decent meal. Was when I went out on a date. Like my mom would be like, "You're getting a little thin. It's time to go out on a date."
Oh.
Yeah, that's I'm from the deep South, so that's the way we roll. Yeah, so like I've definitely like definitely hustled back in the day. And then like I get I get kind of annoyed when someone's playing game with me and I'm highly competitive. So I'm like, oh, you really don't want to answer for 2 days? Okay, we can both play the don't answer game. That's cool. I'm real good at that game. So I've definitely done that in that way. Not so much when it's like serious. If I'm like actually trying to get to know someone and I like them and it's like a mutual thing, that's kind of when it stops. But yeah, back in the day, you know, got to do what you got to do.
Lewis?
Have I ever ran game? Absolutely. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, absolutely. I've ran game, and basically it comes from, especially from young men and growing up especially I grew up in the projects. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And, you know, when you're together with your boys, right? And you see a girl and everyone thinks she looks good. And they're like, it's basically like, who's going to get her, right? And it's who has the best game. You know, who has the best gift of the gab, who can dress the best, who can do whatever they can to attract that particular person. I think that's what it is, even to today, you know, especially, you know, whether if it's competitive or not, it's how you attract someone, and your game is how you dress, how you talk, how you do certain things. It may not be as playful like it was back in the day to prove to your boys that you can get someone, but now it's kind of almost personal because it is what make you up of a person that now she can look at you and say, wow, he got game. Not necessarily he's trying to game me, but he got game, and I like that. He's smooth. He's cool. So I think some women look for that in certain men, you know, to have that swag, you know, if to say if that's game as well. But at the same time, this day and age, I mean, I don't know. I think when we're at this point in our lives, we're trying to really get someone and really trying to be with someone. It's not the game that we played. It's now the game of you putting your best foot forward. You know, do you have your game together? It's like putting on your game face. Now I'm going after this woman and she's hoping your game is good, because if you come with something whack, it's like this guy is you know, ain't, you know, he's not for me because he cannot talk, he's shy or whatever it may be. But it's how you attract. I really think game now, for me, it's how you attract, how you talk, how you get to understand, you know, the woman that you're with. Do you have your shit together?
The difference between, you know, having game and running game on somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's important, that, you know, like you said, the game, having game is how it's the level of attraction, but like I said, running game is just trying to manipulate somebody else. So
Right.
I like how you make that distinction.
So, but then like what one person considers having game, right? It's all about like big dick energy. And that translates like as long as, like, you know what I mean? Like if someone's like just confident in who they are, it doesn't matter if they're the dorkiest, nerdiest little like wimpy person you ever saw. If they have that energy, that's attractive to someone who's interested in the same things they're interested in.
Right. That's the thing. I think is you have to have I think it's a central vibe. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a vibe that you're going for, and if the person don't meet your vibe, then they don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's game. Like that they're having game. Then in that sense, it's like, okay, do we have the same vibe? You know, and if they do, then you get with that vibe. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing. So let's talk intentional versus motive. So intentional meaning marriage, motives meaning sexual. This day and age, we have a lot of people who are like into casual sex. Marriage rates are pretty much dropping. You know, there are people who just say, you know what, I'm good off marriage. You know, I can have the partnership without the commitment. So what is purpose and intent versus motives and just trying to be with someone and seeing where it goes, whether it's a fling or you're just hanging out? what's your purpose of getting with him or her? Sex or the ring? What does that look like?
Okay, so I, my mom, and just in general, I'm pretty sure the women, on this panel, everywhere hear the same thing too. When you talk about your gut or you talk about your intuition, men have intuition too about, especially getting with a particular woman. We can tell like this, she's not right, or for whatever reason. So we have to kind of play, not the fence, but we have to look at it from both sides, both from my intention side and both from her intention side. And that's why for me, and a lot of men who are ready, we are into getting to know and investigating, vetting the woman that we're trying to be with so she can understand the true intentions that we have. If she don't care about that, then I can tell where her intentions are. And that's where it come from study. It come from really trying to really intentionally understanding the woman that you're trying to get to know. Women can pick that up, but here's the problem. You run into a too good to be true motive. You say, this is too good to be true. I'm not feeling, my intuition is not kicking in, so I don't know. And you kind of almost get confused. And in most cases, when a man approaches a woman and his intentions is for a ring, and 9 times out of 10, it may not be for the ring right away. It may be for the interest and really defining, is this the woman that I can see myself with, even though it's pretty quick. Sex, will come if the relationship is right, all those particular different things. For men that are ready, trust me, that is not the goal. You can do that anytime. But really, truly understanding a woman and getting her to understand where you're coming from without feeling like you are too good to be true is one of the most difficult things in this day and age right now that most men who are ready fall into. And that's our struggle. And we're trying to get women over that hump. Forget the hump of breaking the ice. It's get over the hump of, I'm a good dude. I need you to really look at that and don't now try to play game, trying to see where I'm coming from, if I'm real. And that's another form of game. You have women who not necessarily want you to chase them, because the chase is really how you look at it if someone is interested. And that's why I look at chase. Chase is interest. But if I'm showing interest and it's genuine, and you still making me jump through hoops and being and not believing me and not trusting me and not doing all those things, I'm out. I'm not gonna waste my time. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
And so when I come to a woman, my intentions are to really get to understand who she is. And again, the too good to be true kind of fall into your arms, whereas like you got to make a decision. Like, man, I wish I could just fast forward 3 months and really see, are you the same person?
Yeah.
That you're really presenting to me. So.
There's Lewis again, dropping gems.
There you go, always. I mean, that is
Always.
real. That is so real. But how do you as a woman navigate that? Because if you've been through so many different relationships and you were hopeful every time, like, I'm going to give this guy a chance, give that guy a chance, and you're going into it with pure intentions, you're thinking this guy is going to be the knight in shining armor every time. How do you navigate that space without going too far left where you're like the game of too good to be true, because now I did that with everybody else and nothing panned out, versus let me take my time, get to know him as well, and kind of not go with the flow, but be intentional about getting to know him and see where it goes. How do you navigate that?
I cannot speak from a woman's perspective, but I can speak from a male perspective and saying, listen, I would rather you still be listen, get your heart right. Get your heart right and get your mind right. Those two have to be able to communicate. If you allow your heart to run rampant, and what will happen is you will lose control and fall into the trap of misunderstanding where the intentions is coming from. But your mind will not allow it if it's connected to each other and it starts to make decisions and really collaborating with each other. You have to be careful, because listen, I would rather for a woman to still be a woman, get, as long as her heart is right and she's doing the right thing. Listen, life is filled with, you fall down, you get back up, but don't get back up and do the same thing. Get back up and learn different, from what had happened, but at the same time, still have your raw heart understanding how it feels, but don't feel with the wrong intention. That may sound a little confusing because feeling with the wrong intention is you can get fooled by what somebody say and how somebody make you feel. You can allow that to always happen to you because your feelings, women are mostly made up of a lot of emotions and feelings other than men, if that's a comparison. So in most cases, you will fall into that trap that, oh my God, I feel this certain way and he's doing this for me. And, all these different things that are coming across of how you think how he's really looking at you. But you have to have both together. You're going to fall down. But when you get back up, you just have to, you should not do the same thing over and over again, try and expect the same result. And love is a risk. We all know that.
Mhm.
I don't care when you get married. I don't care. I've seen people who marry for years, that, and they fall away, or they don't really know the person because they find out this guy's been doing this for years. It's a risk. But at the same time, if you love right, and that's by getting both your heart and mind in tune with each other, trust me, you'll come out on top.
That's amazing, Louis. And to back up your point, I think that's the struggle for women, is because we are made of emotions and we are being ourselves and putting ourselves out there without playing the game. We get ran over and we have to go back into what this generation is now, doing with the non-emotions. And I just need a man for X, Y, and Z. I need the side dude for ABC. It leads us to feeling heartless. And then you're broken. And then you have to go back to this space where, you know what, I don't want to be bothered. I just want to be alone. So that's when, the phone calls start coming and it's like, hi, in all the games, I want to take you out. You're just not in a space anymore to actually, want to give to anyone. You just kind of feel like, you know what, this is too much. I'm just going to focus on me. And we get into this grind mode. So,
well, I mean, I would say, sort of piggybacking off of all of that, is like, first of all, nobody should be anybody's knight in shining armor except the person themselves. That's like universal. That's male, female. You should make sure you are well balanced and you're at your grounded 100%, and then move in every department from that space. I think women, it's okay to be emotional. Like, it's okay. We're emotional. Like, if a man can't handle you being emotional, then you tell him, this is the way I am. So I don't know, I hate it too. I have to deal with it. So I don't understand why they, you think it's one way. You think I like crying in the middle of washing dishes for no damn reason?
Are you crazy?
It's not my idea of a good time.
Right.
So I think if you just come at it from being yourself and then giving other people a chance, and then go, all right, if it doesn't work out, my feelings might get hurt. My feelings have been hurt before. And here I am. So it's not the end of the world, and go from it like that. And if you're very honest with yourself, by the time someone starts to hurt your feelings, it's usually the beginning. It's not that bad. You're not that invested.
Right.
And it's okay. Cry your little tears, eat whatever you need to eat, and then get up the next day.
Absolutely. That's a dope answer, along with Louis saying the heart and mind need to be connected.
Yeah.
For
and
sure.
So, and what are your thoughts on that, just in terms of men, women, intention, purpose versus motives?
I mean, everybody's made some very, striking comments. A lot of jewels been dropped. I do think it's really hard for women with regards to this, because typically women come to the game from a more genuine place. You know what I'm saying? In terms of their end game being, marriage and ring and stability and stuff like that. And a lot of dudes are coming, again, they approach the game differently. They're coming looking for another end game. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for, that yoni, that wet, that spritz. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the challenges. Everybody's coming with a different end game. So yeah, what everybody said is really cool. I know for me, you know, I think you said something like it's different stages too. You said something about different stages, and now that's kind of where I am now. Like, you know, my final boss, like, you know, we played a video game, like the final stage, you know what I'm saying? Like that's for me, that's that's definitely finding the soulmate, the ultimate, your person, you know what I'm saying? That ultimate you know, your wife, or however you want to say, kindred spirit, you know, all of that. Soulmate. Um, but to something that Kate said, you know, I'm at the stage now where I know I'm not ready for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working on me. I still got to build me up. I got to make sure that I'm worthy of this woman that I want to manifest.
Yeah.
And so by doing so, I can be just as much prepared for her as she is for me. And so, so yeah, that's where I am. So that's my final stage. I'm not there yet. The stage I'm at right now is, for me personally, just, you know, female companionship, you know what I'm saying? Just learn, you know, meeting women, you know, and, you know, building up myself, making sure I'm the best version of myself that I can be. You know, and, you know, me personally, if, you know, I have an intimate encounter or a few and on the road to finding my ultimate lady, then cool, you know what I'm saying? But definitely the final stage is definitely finding somebody that I can say is like my forever love, you know, my eternal love, and write songs about her and all that kind of mushy stuff.
For the record, though, women also like all of those things. Sometimes we ain't really into you like that either. We just looking for a good time. For the record, like it goes both ways.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Don't take all the credit now. Like, y'all don't own
I
everything.
mean,
Hey,
like,
you're right. You're right, son. Hey, look, you're right. You're absolutely right. We're gonna talk about it.
sometimes you just cute tonight.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
Tonight, and that's that one night only.
Need that thing itched and scratched. I get it.
Ew, no. If she asks you to scratch
Yeah, you know what?
it,
Yeah, you're right.
and it
Yeah,
itches,
you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
Absolutely
like
right. No itching and scratching. You're right. You're right.
oh.
So let's set up the stage and let's set up the scene. Okay, so how much is too much in the beginning? You are dating this guy and dating this woman. For men, it's like you guys say that you don't want too much in the beginning. Should she be cooking in the beginning? Maybe mom didn't cook home cooked meals, and they say the way to a man is his belly and other things, but she can throw down. Or maybe she knows that one meal that her grandmama taught her. So for a guy, vice versa, how much is too much in the beginning, male and female? When a woman is given too much of herself, should she be meeting you places instead of having you over? Vice versa, a guy, should he be, like I said earlier, filling you up, getting that first kiss on the first date? How much is too much?
I think it's your vibe. I think we cannot allow people's expectation of how we should do things with someone, because I've always said before, with the whole process of love languages, I believe two people get together and develop their own unique way of loving each other, and that's their language. It's not necessary to follow the four, because we know there are hundreds of languages out there that people speak love. How you understand it is where it's going to come across and how it affects you. So I think when two people get together and your vibe, your chemistry, you know that you've met people. I'm pretty sure we all have met someone. It's like, dang, I feel like I've known you, and everything it just clicks. Everything is just like in line. So we should not let outside dictate how we move with someone. But I do believe if your intentions is correct, then your design of how you want your relationship to be should be in line with where you want to go, and she should know that, if that makes sense. So if I like you and I want to be with you, I'm going to let you know that through text, through calls, through true intentions of me doing things, so that you can understand that this man is for real about me. That's how I design my relationships. I'm not going to allow you to think otherwise. Otherwise, I'd lose you. And vice versa. I would hope if she wants to be in a relationship, she would let me know. And if she doesn't, you would let me know. That is how I'll know which way we can go with it. So in the very beginning, one of the questions I used to ask is, in the beginning of a relationship, and I wrote this somewhere before, in the beginning of a relationship, is it okay for a man to ask, how do I love you? And some women have said, yes. It's okay. Then some women have said no because they don't, if I tell you, you will act out what I'm telling you and it's not true and genuine. Then on the flip side, how genuine is it for a man to even ask you that question? Most men don't even care, supposedly, if the intentions is not right. But if he's asking you a question to really get to truly understand who you are as a woman, he wants to know what makes you laugh, what ticks for you, what does it for you. And it may be the small cooking, the holding of the hand, the come picking me up, all those different things that you can truly understand. And if he can't do it, if he says, listen, I'll be honest with you, that's not me, then you know where to go. Right? If he tells you that, that's not me. I don't do public display or whatever it may be. But then you know how to make a decision about what to do going forward. So in the beginning, I think, you have to figure out what your chemistry is. How do you flow, but flow with the design in place so that both of you can be on the same page.
Okay. And so Kait, how much is too much in the beginning?
I mean, I'm in agreement. Do whatever the hell you feel like doing. And it depends on each person. If you're really vibing with someone and they text you the next day, that might be cool with you. If you were just chit-chat with someone and it was like, it was okay, and they blow your phone up the next day, that might not be okay with you for that particular person. I like to cook. I like doing that for other people. I've definitely done that early on when I started dating someone. That's what I enjoy doing. I live alone. I like to cook for more than just myself. So that's my thing. How other people take that, that's on them. That's me, and that's just the way I roll. If it's too much for them, cool. I like to cook. So maybe if you don't like to eat, I'm not the one.
I agree. I mean, cooking to me is kind of like we all got to eat. No matter where we go, if it's at my house, your house, we go out to eat, we all got to eat. I feel like that's not really a big deal to me anymore. Like as I've gotten older, I was like, oh, that's too much. You're not his wife. Why are you cooking? But I've kind of loosened up on that because it's like, we got to eat. It doesn't matter. But to me, Lewis, I never thought about that point about a man asking, how do I love you from the beginning? Because now that I'm a little older and I see how relationships kind of work and I've read, done some research and things like that, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, because if that man is truly interested in you and he sees a future with you, he's going to ask that question because he wants to know. He truly wants to know to make you happy. I feel like the guys who don't care don't ask that question.
Right.
9 times out of 10, they won't even care enough to think that way. So I feel like that's not even going to come up. But for someone who's serious, who, can see this flourishing and going somewhere, they're wanting to intentionally know those things about you because they want from the jump to make you happy.
Yep.
Because that's now putting a timeline on, well, some people say love at first sight. I met them and in a month we were married. Is there anything wrong with that? No. There isn't anything wrong with that. There's no right or wrong answer. If that's what works for that person, that couple, then that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad it's flourishing. I don't care about the time frame. Like you said, you can meet somebody and be like, man, it's like I knew you all my life. How do you get there? Because that vibe was there. So again, it goes back to what you said, Lewis, about the vibe. It's all about the vibe to me.
The other part is, can you hold him accountable for doing it wrong if you do not tell him? So can you truly hold him accountable for doing it his own way if you have not told him how to love you?
No.
Right. Like, can you really do that? Because if you're afraid to tell him, right, because you think he may act it out, it may be disingenuous, then it's like, okay, you're leaving it really up to a man to figure out how to love. You know what I mean?
But isn't that a part of building something organic, is seeing if he is that man, which makes him well qualified to love you, as opposed to you telling him how to love you? Because sometimes it's about gain. He could be dating other women and it's like, I'm going to do all the things she just told me just to get her where I want her. And then once we have that, 10 months, they say you should date for about 10, I guess 10 times for 10 months or something. He's slept with you, he's used to you. And then you're hitting his phone like, what's going on? And then you're hitting relationship columns like, oh my God, I've been dating this guy, now he's dodging me. Like, isn't that kind of like the setup for a woman?
No, you cannot allow the veil of sex or the veil of things going okay in the moment to cloud your thought process around you still need to hold him accountable.
There's no
You-
way in 10
you-
months you didn't pick up on things.
Right, correct.
There's
You
no way.
still
I was
need
gonna say
you
too.
still need to be able to ask questions and have checkups, and you know, have those conversations. And you can tell. Listen, 10 months. I mean, if you haven't picked up something and then all of a sudden it happens, that's on you. Because you should have had those conversations of those things that you talked about and told him. Now let me hold you accountable to what I told you. You know,
I still kind of differ with that a little bit. I think in finding someone, I just want to know, and this is just for me, I would want to know that they are who I need them to be, just organic, you know, just authentic. You are that person. I want to feel it. You know,
So,
I don't want to tell you anything, just as I don't.
I feel like you can't, no one can read your mind.
Right.
Like they can't. I think someone that is organically wanting you wants, I am a whole separate human being other than you. So there are some things you're gonna have to communicate, like what you need. And because I truly care about you, if I'm able to do those needs, it works with who I am, then I do that because I do care about you. That might not be the way I've rolled my entire individual life,
right.
but because I do want to be with you, I make these adjustments. And it's easy because of the love.
Right.
Well, you know, what's interesting about this whole thing is it's funny because like this dichotomy between, you know, should you let the universe, you know, dictate how the two of you align with each other without disclosing versus, you know, putting all your expectations up front. You know what I'm saying? And there's pros and cons to each side. And it's funny because me and E have had this conversation. And, you know, because I actually wrote a love manual. Like I sat back and literally wrote like a whole manual about, you know, how I look at love, how I approach love, how I, you know, how I want to be loved, everything. And so my initial thought with it was to present it to, you know, when I find somebody that I'm, you know, really either somewhat serious about, or even like I'm still just first getting to know you, like, here, this is what this is. This gives you a full, like, I'm gonna give you my manual, like my code book to how to deal with me. You know what I'm saying? And what I provide, you know, what I offer and what I'm looking for, my expectations. Now, I've talked about that a couple of times, and some people say, you know, that's a good thing, that, you know, you should maybe, you know, do that, you know, present it to women that you see, whatever like that. I've gotten other advice that says, no, you should hold off to it, use it as a guide while you're finding that one. And then once you find her, you know, it's organic, then you present it to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is what I pray for. You are the manifestation of all of my collective thoughts and desires and yearnings and stuff like that. And so it seems like that's what this conversation right now here is about. It's like, do you approach the game from the point of, okay, I'm just going to be authentically me and let the other person be authentically them, and then hopefully our organic you know, elements, our organic union will be exactly what each other wants? Or do we say, okay, look, hey, how you doing? My name is Benjamin. This is what I'm looking for. A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? Can you do that? Okay, well, what's
No, you
yours?
don't have
Okay,
to word
you know
it
what I'm
like
saying?
that.
But no, I know. I'm, of course, hold on. Of
I'm
course,
an ABC.
of course, I'm being, hold on,
Yeah.
of course, I'm being hyperbolic. Of course,
Yeah,
of course, I'm being
no.
hyperbolic. Of course, I'm being hyperbolic. Of course, but what I'm saying is that's the thing. You know, I'm gonna over exaggerate, but what I'm saying is, like, is that your approach? Do you come with it wanting to know the other person's expectations and, you know, everything, like someone said, I think it was Kait said, you know, you're not a mind reader, so you need to know those things? Or do you say, I'm just gonna be me, and if it aligns with, you know, you, then let's rock together? So that's the debate.
You could go both ways. You know, there's people that are like Erica that wants to organically make it, let it happen. And then there's people who want to know just upfront where your mind is. I don't think you're going to hit every point. So you're going to learn that person over time, but maybe some people want some information up front. Like, yeah, this is how you're gonna love me right. Like Lewis said, now you got to go through the process and validate those things that I have let you know, and you'll see by I let them know, and sometimes people will show you who they are. When they show you who they are, believe them. If they don't follow up with that, then you know they weren't genuine from the beginning. But there's
No.
nothing wrong with information. You know what I'm saying?
There's also
What
not.
you do with
Ooh,
that
I'm sorry.
information. No, you're fine. Is what you do with that information. So I think both ways, there's no right or wrong. It's just preference.
No one's gonna have exactly what you want, your dream. Like, it doesn't exist, right? You have to have what is absolutes and what are deal breakers, and then everything in between. Where are you whether to accept a real human being?
Right.
So how does a man make a woman want you? We live in this economy, the society where we have these super alpha males. We have these platforms. I'm not saying no names. We have the Mr. Hot, you know who is running the YouTube game, and he's out here telling these men to be not necessarily compassionless men, but separate and dividing women on a scale from 1 to 10 to be fit, friendly, and feminine. But if you don't look like the standard, society standard, you may not fit the bill and be able to be with a certain type of man, certain caliber of man. So simp versus pimp ideology. A guy who is putting all his feelings on the line, like I love you, I care about you, I want to be with you, versus the pimp. That needs no explanation. How do we deal with that? I want to start with Kait on this one. You have a guy who's, really empathetic. He's sincere. He's putting it all on the line. You might have a 6-figure guy who's like, I have my options. So I mean, there's so many scenarios, so many variables. How do you deal with a situation like that if you've ever been in one, or what are your views?
Yeah, like I dated all different kinds of people. Some my friends have questioned by their physique. Like, you got your contacts in, girl. You got your glasses on today, right? But they were cool. They made me laugh, and that was enough for me. And then I've been with the guy that made 6 figures and was fit and Ivy League graduate, and he hated his life. And I was like, why do you keep doing this? I don't know. What else would I do? You went to Harvard. Like, I don't know. I feel like you could figure it out. I prefer someone I have a good time with over someone. I mean, it's nice, right? You want someone to kind of like have their life together, right? Be balanced in themselves. Like, I don't want to bum. Like, you can't come live in my apartment and I'm not paying your cell phone bill. Like, that's no. But like someone that's got their own that can like partner up with you is how I look at it. Like, some guys that make a lot of money, if they make more than you, then it doesn't matter what you contribute to the relationship, because they have more money. They use that against you. Like, well, I'm doing all of this and da 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 da, and they completely ignore everything else you bring to the table. So it depends on the person. Doesn't matter all these other things if they're in like well balanced and they make you happy. To me, that's the way I roll.
I mean, if we vibe, again, I'm going back to the vibe. Money comes and goes. Authenticity is authenticity. There's a lot of people who put on, a lot of people who fake the funk, who yeah, they have successful careers, but it's just to be called elite or just to be in this group. And like Kait said, they're not happy. And when they're not happy, they're not going to make me happy or aid in my happiness, I should say, because happiness is a choice that comes from within. But I feel like for me, the simple, somebody who we can have inside jokes with, we can go out, we can do whatever activity. It doesn't always have to be some get dressed in a a ball gown every day or whatever. It could be, we could simply go to the park, have a picnic, or just the simple things for me. And I just feel like a little bit of well, not a little bit, a lot of why people's views have been kind of warped is because of you know, like you said, social media. It's like, this is what's presentable. This is what an ideal man looks like. He's fit, he has 6 figures, he drives a certain car, lives in a certain neighborhood. And then, you know, we're brainwashed as people to say that's the ideal, you know. So when the garbage man comes, he's not good enough because he's a garbage man. But that man could be full of integrity and honest and loyal and have a good head on his shoulders, wants to be a good husband. And we will look the other way, some of us, because of his job description. And it's like, you just missed all your blessings because you want Mr. $1 million player over here. But that's just sometimes to fit society. So somebody else can say, oh, look at her man, look what she got. Instead of you actually being happy with a man that actually makes you happy.
Yeah, and I think like what Jolon just said, popular culture. I think, you know, I'm not trying to throw any names in here, but you know, we have popular entertainers who project this lifestyle, you know, and what a man can do for you. And, you know, he puts me on and he, you know, does me like this and he does this to me. And, you know, it's just like, I don't understand why people always have to think that, you know, material gain and what a person can do for you is life standard, you know.
Right.
So I know for myself, I don't really care about anymore. I don't care about the materialism. I care more about our togetherness because I care about my future, essentially, you know, longevity. And I'm always the type of person who's thinking future forward, like, where am I going to be 5, 10, 25 years from now? I don't want to be alone. I don't want something that's temporary. I don't want what's for tonight, for next week. And I know a lot of people know this about me. I'm not the casual person. You know, I'm not the one night stand person. I'm the long-term runner. So, you know, I think, you know, a lot of times, like Jolon said, you know, it could be the garbage man. You know, I know, for instance, there's a gentleman in Costco and he's a cashier.
Costco Bay.
Place though, that's Club Costco, you know, Erica.
Costco Bay.
Never spoken.
Girl, he always knows how to pack stuff though.
Girl, right.
But there's something like, I don't know, something spiritual in our hellos. Every time we say hello, nice brother, you know, just dreadlocks, standing there, you doing this little thing, you know. But I'm like, hey, like, you know, his body language, the way it shifts. Hey, what's going on? You know, it's like there's more to that conversation, but this has been going on for 10 years. I've been shopping Costco since 2007.
you stop playing with that man.
In the back of my mind, I'm like, why are you still a cashier? No, I'm kidding. But you know, it's just like that spiritual connection. You can feel it. That's what I mean about, you know, finding your Mr. Right, you know. So I think that's important. One other question I need to ask, I know that question was for the females. I'm going to run it back to the guys and women. This is a huge one. I know there's a popular blogger as well who's been talking about running background reports, hiring private investigators to know who you are dating. Does lip service really work? And what a person wants you to believe, does it hold value?
You get to a point where you go, when is enough enough?
That's true.
And the reason why I say that, because once you start doing one thing, it leads to others. And sometimes a report, a piece of paper doesn't tell the story. Mm-hmm. The story comes from you having that conversation with that person to truly understand who they are. And I think once you start doing that, you already build a mistrust. You already don't trust a person by doing background and digging information, because some of that stuff could be wrong. Some of the stuff could not explained like it's supposed to.
Right.
And you would automatically exclude someone out of your life who probably may need to be in yours. So I think sometimes you got to ask, when is enough to do that? Because like I said, you start digging, you dig for everything. You're not going to stop, right? You're going to find one thing to, okay, well, let me look at this. Well, let me look at this. Then money, then jail, then this. And, you know, next thing you know, you did a full investigation. You ready to put the guy in jail. Like, what the hell? I thought I was going to like him. Now I got to put him in jail. So I think it's too much when you do that. Now you're really removing the love factor out of finding your forever. You know, you remove that out of the picture just to investigate if this guy's right for you. So how about we do that to you? You know, you gonna do me, let me do you.
Well,
you know, and let me have my own understanding about what I find out. And then it's like, what's the point? I mean, come on.
yeah, true. I think people with shady behavior, it'll come out eventually.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
You always answering the phone in the corner. You know, you always got to step outside to take a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, closing the computer when I come in there. Like you'll see
Phone
stuff,
upside down.
right? Phone upside down. You know, you always using cash. Like, come on now.
You went straight antiquated with that thing. You said y'all was using cash.
You got
Hey,
big
look.
knots in your pocket, you flipping. Come on, girl.
Right. Come on now. You gonna know something ain't right.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah.
Pretty much consensus of the group. I will say that I can see, like, if you're in a committed, I can see if, like, you're in a committed relationship in certain circumstances where you might have to, a woman might hire a private investigator for, you know, for her husband, you know, cheating, stuff like that, or, you know, things of that nature. But early on, yeah, like I think the background check is a little iffy. I have heard that too. I've never done it before, but I can maybe see if you want to be serious. I don't know. It is kind of strange, but definitely not the PI. The PI thing is definitely like not that early, not early.
Not that serious.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, later on down the line, if you're trying to, you know, for you know, some sort of litigative purposes or something like that, but yeah, no, not too early because it's strange.
Okay.
Oh Lord,
Saw her
this
face.
story.
Ladies.
So what happened was,
in the
oh Lord, here we go. Oh Lord,
If
here we go.
you
Camera.
had to hire a private investigator, this is why you're single. This is why. Stop. Like, stop. Do you and pay attention.
Thank you.
And if he's off, you'll see it. Don't do all this. This is why they don't stay around. It's a little nutty. Don't do that. That's what it is. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then, in all honesty, if somebody did something in their past, before you even get to know them, you're judging them. Now, they might have done something, that might have been something stupid they did when they were 18, a kid or something. And all you're going is, oh, this person went to jail or this person did this. And instead of looking at the person that grew from that. So you might miss this whole grown-ass man, a grown-ass woman, because you're judging them on something they did before they did all this growing. So like, just chill. Care less, do you more, and things will work out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you already know some shenanigans with her, but she got all up in it. She want to make sure.
Like,
So, y'all need to know. Listen, sis, y'all need to know. But no, seriously, yeah, I just, like I said, I think that, I mean, trust is just hard, man. I because trust is so important, man. People go through some extreme measures in order to make sure that their trust isn't broken. And I mean, I've been hurt before, so I can may not agree with it, but I can understand why people will go to these great lengths sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Although again, I don't agree with it. So it goes back to, like, you know, how important like some of those foundational elements are, and trust is one of those. And that's why you just gotta be authentic from the start, man. Like I try my best to be like real authentic and upfront, even probably to a fault. Like I probably talk too much, you know what I'm saying? But I'd rather that, you know what I'm saying? But I'd rather that than to, you know, have my expectations not understood or unmet. At least I tell you, look, I told you, like I said, I told your ass what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So there should be no misunderstanding.
Right.
You know, so either you can do that or you can't. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? At whatever stage of life I'm at, whether I'm
he
just
wrote
trying to be
a
your friend,
book.
whether
He
I'm
didn't
trying to
just
be,
tell you.
you know,
He
your
got like
lover.
a whole book.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
a whole damn manual. You got a manual. Hold on, let me do my Kait. Let me get my Kait on. I wrote you a whole manual.
He's like, for those in the back who couldn't hear.
For those, exactly.
Closer.
Exactly. For those in the nosebleeds, right?
Right.
But no, seriously, like, you know, so I guess, you know, again, the bottom line is like just authenticity. It's authenticity and honesty and truth. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm about. And I think that's what the game is. That's what the game is missing. You know what I'm saying? Like the game is missing authenticity, truth, vulnerability, you know, because those things are seen as weakness, especially for men. You know what I'm saying? When men show vulnerability, it's seen as, and especially in the circle of men. So going back to the question about pimp versus simp, you know, that dichotomy is more so in the sphere of the manosphere. So a man that does a lot for his woman, that, you know, shows vulnerability, that does all these things, and, you know, may put his woman up on a pedestal, or that may, you know, put her needs sometimes before his own, or things of that nature. He's seen as a simp. You know what I'm saying? Like that, in a lot of respects. And so, like I said, like he said, some of those other personalities that push that narrative. And the pimp is a man that gets as much from a woman with as little effort as possible. He tries to get, you know, and so that's, again, that's the dichotomy. That's what I said, this exploitative kind of element in the game that I can't get with. You know what I'm saying? If a game's supposed to be fun, even if you're competitive, a game is supposed to be fun. You know what I'm saying? We play games because it's fun. The end game is supposed to be about us making each other happy and pleasing each other. You know what I'm saying? We all love orgasms, right? You know what I'm saying? So let's get the orgasm. We all love for somebody to love on us, right? Let's do that. We love for somebody to pray for us, right? Let's do that. So those are the things that's supposed to be the prize of the game. But, you know, a lot of times in the process thereof, you know, a lot of other messy stuff goes on.
I think that has to do with like being very much mentally well, and all of your little background mishaps and all the things that have affected you really like stepping up and dealing with that. And then you can do all these things. It's not like, oh, I have to be macho because I'm afraid. Like, deal with what you're afraid of, and then come back, knock on the door, we'll open it on up, we'll have a chit chat.
In conclusion, I mean, this topic game, I think, you know, it's been around forever, before our time anyway. You know, Daddy was a Rolling Stone back in the day. So many
was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah. So I mean, in conclusion, like, you know, how do you approach dating today? You know, where are you today? And in conclusion, how can you summarize this conversation?
Like I said, you know, looking back from where I've come from and knowing what dating really is, and what it is to know myself and what I want and what I need, I think that's a big factor in knowing how to navigate your dating life as well. It depends on what you want. Who are you? What feeds you? What feeds your soul? What makes you laugh? What are those things that bring you joy? And finding someone that matches that energy, that vibe, that, you know, common goal. You know, if it's marriage, or, you know, some people don't want to be married, and that's fine too, but just knowing what you want out of a relationship is the game that I'd like to play, and winning in the end of, you know, finding my Mr. Right and being happily ever after. That's it.
I mean, I want things up front, meaning I want to feel comfortable. I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel like, you know, you're talking to someone that's a friend, someone who has your best interest in mind when we have a conversation. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, downloads, you know, tell me everything, or I'm asking all the questions. It shouldn't be. It should be something that you truly know that I'm interested in you by me being patient and being kind and being, you know, listening to what you're saying, and you know, saying things back as if actively listening to what you're saying. So I want you to feel comfortable. I want to feel comfortable. We shouldn't have to wait for that. I don't want to know everything about you, and then, okay, now let's see if we can do all these other things. You know, a great personality is huge for me. Being able to laugh, and I think that breaks the barrier of a lot of different things when you're able to laugh with someone and really let go. And that puts you in a position where, like, wow, I love being around this person. And I want somebody to be like that with me. I want someone to say, I love being around you. And even if we're not talking, we're just having a good time, we're doing things, and you're making me feel like I have no care in the world when I'm with you. So that's simplicity to me. I think we're missing that with all the, you know, I'm making money now, so I have options. And then I'm talking from a woman's perspective. The women now who are making money, sometimes they are not even looking at, and not to take some of the stuff from where the man who say certain things, but women who make a certain type of money don't even look at certain men to even get that natural feeling from, unless you are at a certain income. And then you wonder why we fall into this whole trap, you know? because we're putting forth things that are not us for us. So like money, they allow money to define what I do, where I go, and what people I pick. That's the wrong place to be.
Yeah. Oof, more gems. We're changing Lewis's name to Gems today.
Really?
I'm in a similar place. I just go about my business and I do me. And if that works for you, cool. And if you don't get on my nerves, then like game on. So far it's working. Like I'm happy. I'm happy. Learn a lot. I meet a lot of people and I'm okay with going, this is not my jam. I'm all right by myself.
Well, I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, but I could just say that right now I'm definitely working on myself to be worthy for like that forever. I know that in what I'm working on, it's kind of like in four stages, kind of like how I view life, which is, or how I view how we're constructed as sentient human beings, which is, the spiritual self, mental self, emotional self, and physical self. And so I'm just trying to better myself and become the best version of myself in those four areas. And I would hope that the woman that I'm looking for, the one I'm trying to manifest, will be able to nourish me, or we will nourish each other and be sound in all four of those areas. You know what I'm saying? So a woman that's going to pray for me and I pray for her, we can do whatever kind of, rituals or whatever spiritual, ethereal practices we want to get into, that type of thing. We laugh, we joke together, we stimulate each other mentally, stimulate each other through humor and wit and just knowledge, learning from each other. Emotionally, like, and that's for me personally, that's really huge, the emotional part. Like, she's encouraging, she's sweet and kind. Like, I can't tell you how, like, for me, I mean, of course, the first thing, I'm a man, so, you see a woman, the first thing you see, she's beautiful, right? She's sexy, whatever like that. But for me, what really unlocks inside of me, my attraction to a woman, especially like on a fantasy level, is that she's kind. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much all my fantasies start with this beautiful woman that is so sweet to me. You know what I'm saying? She just very touchy-feely, she's affectionate, you know what I'm saying? She's saying all these kind words, and I'm like, all like floating on cloud nine because she's all sweet to me, and then, we get to it. So for me, and then, those elements are what I'm working on for myself, making sure I'm right in the heart, making sure my body's right, my mind is right, my spirit is right. And then, like I said, manifesting her in those areas as well.
Does that explain the clouds behind you now?
Absolutely. I'm trying, this is where I'm trying to get to, you know what I'm saying? This is the realm I want to be in with my woman.
Yeah, and that last statement set it off for me. That was my summation, what you just said. Can you repeat that last sentence?
What did I say? I don't even know what I said. It just be coming out of me.
You're trying to be at with your woman. And much like what Kait said, I guess that's, okay, well, they have the saying, best revenge is your paper. I feel like women need to just be who they are, do your thing, elevate yourself, whether it's education, your workplace, if you have children, whatever it is, like your hobbies, your whatever it is you do, like just focus on you. Because I feel like, as you're doing things, I mean, I'm grocery shopping, I'm talking about a dude who's, working, as you're living your life, you will find that person who just fits in and you guys rock out. So, I mean, that's my whole motto. I don't think it's complicated. I think we as people, we make it complicated.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be. So I want to thank you guys for an amazing, amazing episode. That was amazing. I mean, Lewis, Gems, Kait, I love what you said tonight. I mean, just like full throttle. And Jolon, I think, the core of the foundation of love, you spit a lot of gems on that, but Ben, definitely the clouds. I think that's all we need to be. So we'll see you guys in our next episode. And we thank you for watching. If you haven't already followed us, follow us at The Purple Mic. All of our hashtags individually are on our pages under our bios. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching and good night.